Okay, so recently I've been having some email coaching and I got a bunch of emails from my clients, and due to that exposure I have found a certain theme that I believe is the biggest problem in most of you guys having trouble manifesting what you want. And it ties back to the lecture that Neville Goddard gave, where he talked about the pearl of great price. And the pearl of great price, the story is very simple. It's a long story, but it's a simple story. When Neville Goddard tells the story of some person who goes to buy a pearl from a merchant, and he asks for the price of the pearl, and he says, "What will it cost me?" And the merchant says, "Everything. Everything that you have, it will cost all of it." And what the symbolic or psychological meaning behind that story that Neville Goddard talked about or illustrated was this: that once you understand the law of assumption or the law of being, or once you awaken the Christ within, whatever name you want to give it, your inner being, your spiritual self, your soul, or whatever, the underlying principle that you create your own reality and your consciousness is operating your reality, you cannot go back to the old ways, right? If you wish to control this power that you have or operate it, I don't like the word control because it's a very egoic word. And so if you wish to operate this power, you cannot be double-minded, and you cannot then point towards second cause, like this person did this to me, or you cannot tell the old story that this person is behaving hot and cold towards me, or you basically offloading the responsibility of change towards them, blaming them. And so in these recent emails I illustrated this point, but I felt like I should make a video about it. So of course I have sent them the emails to my clients, but I want to elaborate on this topic with a video to help you guys even more. By the way, if you want to work with me one-on-one or email coaching or whatever, I have a bunch of packages, different text coaching as well and video call. You can work with me one-on-one. The link is in the description. Or you can join the simple membership side, where I do live stream every Saturday and I answer almost every single question in depth as much as I can every week. So you can join if interested. So the underlying principle or the mistake, right, or the sin, as Neville Goddard says, sin is nothing but missing your mark from Neville Goddard's perspective, from spiritual. And he took it from William Blake, and it's a chain of authors who have this perspective. So what I wrote in as an answer in these emails was this: you cannot expect to change reality if you do not embody being the source of your reality. If you do not take accountability of your reality, you cannot change anything, because there is nothing to change out there anyways. So I recently got another comment on my videos, viewers saying that, what if I want them to ask and come for forgiveness, and what if I want them to apologize to me and all this stuff? Well, you can do that, but here's the problem. That is messing in the middle, right? And you are still blaming them. If you blame someone, there is no love in victim mentality. There is no fulfillment in victim mentality. If you cannot let go of their old version that did you wrong. Now this is not, some people who say I'm victim blaming and all this other garbage. Well, law of assumption does not work like that, right? If you come to my channel, or people like me or Neville Goddard, we cannot tell you that yes, you are a victim, because there is no transformation power in that. There is no creative power there, because you operate your consciousness, right? So in that hot seat, whatever you believe and whatever you accept to be true is gonna be perpetuated, is gonna be reflected, is gonna be created. So if you want them to come ask for forgiveness, that means you are holding on to a version of them that did you wrong. And that's not your end. Your end is to be happily married to them, right? Your end is, you always go to the end and you see what do you actually really truly want. Then you're messing with the middle. But that's besides the point. That's my opinion, at least. And it comes from personal experience and Neville Goddard's authentic teachings. That's what he said also. Always go to the end. And so these emails, right? I see that they tell the story, how the things went about, but I notice this, like this person has inconsistency. He or she is inconsistent with me. Well, you are telling the story that they are inconsistent. You cannot say that, right? You got to own up to your operation. Like, this is I am operating my consciousness. I have bought the pearl of great price. I'm the source of my reality. So now I see them as the most devoted person ever to me. It doesn't matter if they are not consistent with the world. And in the other emails was the same, like they are being hot and cold, they're not being loving, they are not good with call or text, they are not giving commitment. I understand. I'm not saying, of course, when you ask for guidance from me, you will tell me the old story, and it's necessary for me to know that, to understand your situation. But once you have told me, my answer will again be the same, that okay, this all has happened, fine, whatever. We do not nullify that, we do not minimize that as though it did not happen or it means nothing. But from here on out, you gotta take accountability, you gotta take responsibility that yes, I created that, and now if I do not want to create it, I cannot repeat that story. I cannot say that he or she is inconsistent. I cannot say that they do not want to commit, because your words are imagination. Your words are imagination expressed, right? You first imagine it, and then you speak it. And so your words are imagination. So you're imagining it, emotionally feeling it. You are living in the end of a person who is like that. Now I understand, of course, in coaching you have to describe the situation. So I'm not saying that you don't tell me that, but you have to understand the nuance point. You are the sole operator of your consciousness, and your consciousness is the sole responsible of your personal reality in your reality sphere. The people, the events, the circumstances, the things that you have are directly corresponding to your state of being. So this person that you want so bad is a reflection of your state of being. They also reflect your desperation. So if you really want them to commit, the paradox is that they feel the desperation, and they feel like, it's not them anyways, it's just your consciousness feels like you don't have them. So it manifests more circumstances where you cannot have them. You see the paradox? And this is why there are so many videos like, oh, if you detach and let go, you will have them. But I see how it can create a confusion, and you guys say, then I give up on them. But here's the thing, who are you detaching with? There is no other. It's just you. So when you decide that you have them, you automatically detach, right? Here's the thing, I have this iPhone. I have it. Now I'm detached that, okay, I have it. I'm not desperately thinking to manifest it, right? And I'm thinking about how to imagine about it or how to do this or that. I'm in Russia. Now I'm not desperate to manifest myself in Russia because I'm here. And so when you buy the pearl of great price, you realize that your consciousness is the real reality, and you are the sole operator. There is no operant power, right? You are the operant power in your reality. And so you take accountability, and then your manifestation has no choice but to manifest, because there is no other. I understand that this concept is trippy. People get tripped up about it. They are like, oh, that means that other people don't exist. Then they talk about solipsism, free will, all these questions. You don't understand how electricity works, but you can use it. So you do not need to understand every single intricacies and mechanics of how this consciousness absolutely on the granular level works. That's the job of Father Mind. You don't have to understand that. You go all in your desired reality. You are not trampling on anybody's free will so long as you apply the golden rule, that is, do unto others that you would like to be done unto you, and do use imagination in love. Now people say, what if there is third party? Well, if you are not imagining deliberately pain and suffering for the third party, you are not doing anything wrong to them. You are just imagining living in the end with your specific person lovingly. You are not even considering the third party. The problem arises when you want the third party gone. You imagine them getting hurt or getting fired or moving other cities, and you are focused on them. Anyways, you are not gonna do anything to them if you are hyper focused on them, because that just creates more desperation. Just like when time crunch people come and say, oh, there is time crunch and it's just, you know, the time and the deadline. Well, the deadline and time is so heavily focused in your mind that you will never get rid of it. So you will only be focused on the time, and that will mess you up. This is why you do not consider these things. You do not consider the third party or time. You just go to the end. You say that you have it, you decide it, you imagine it, you affirm it, not obsessively. You just, from the knowing that you are reality, this is your reality, you are the source, you are the sole operant power. And remember all these Neville Goddard's quotes, they sound cliche because we have listened to them so many times, but they are true. There is no one and nothing to change but self. You are not changing your SP. They are not, they don't even exist in that sense. You are only changing you're only changing yourself in relationship to them, and what does that relationship imply towards you? Like, for example, somebody is having a heart and soul relationship. They say, no, now they are the most devoted lover in the world. And then that starts reflecting. So what does that devotion imply about you? It implies that you are worthy of all their devotion, all their love. You are worthy by default. You are chosen. If they are devoted to you, you are chosen. If they are devoted to you, you are loved. You are cared for. You are priority. You see, you cannot, after saying that they are devoted to you, again go back to the old story and say, where is the text message? I know it's difficult to, this is why it takes some discipline, and even before that discipline, it takes the understanding of how this reality works on your operation level or on your operating level. We're not talking about the mechanics. Oh, do they exist or not? What about their free will? All these questions are beyond your, I mean, I have answered those questions, but they are very difficult to conceptualize with the 3D mind and linear thinking. Your SP has all these versions, otherwise they would never change, right? Same thing with, like, you know, if you do not operate as the only power in your reality, how can you change anything? Like, think about it. How can manifestation ever work if everything is independent from you? It does not work. The old models of reality, the religious model of reality, even the scientific model, they do not mix together with spirituality. You have to let it all go. You have to buy the pearl of great price with everything that you have got, all your past assumptions and your beliefs about reality. And you have to operate your own consciousness with full responsibility and accountability. And then failure is impossible because who is going to give you failure? There is no one else to give anything to you. It's just you. And this is why I made so many videos about just deciding, because there is nobody else who decides it within you. It's you who decides that, oh no, it's not going to happen. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe my imagination is not real. Maybe they don't love me. Who is deciding all this? Now you can give me all this story because I saw it in them, I saw it in them, this is how it happened, that's why. Well, past doesn't exist, does it? Past is not a place. You bring it in the now. There is only now. You imagine it in the now. This is why you solidify that reality and that story in the now. It does not exist anywhere. It's all you. So, long story short, a self-concept work is phenomenal. I totally talk about it. I think it has great importance. Training your imagination is great importance. Affirmations are awesome, subliminals are awesome, scripting is fantastic. All these things are great tools. But at the back of it, if you do not embody being the source of your reality, these things will give you hot and cold mixed results. Because you, at the back of it, you still think that there are things outside of you, powers outside of you who will deny you. The third party, the SP, the bank, the job, the hiring manager, the this or that, or the examiners, or all these things. So you gotta let that go. You have to embody being the source of your reality completely. Take accountability of what you have created thus far. Now this is not blame. Please do not come here and talk about, oh, so you mean I got abused, so that was my fault. There are answers for those questions, but again, I will not try to get into those emotional topics. I want to just say that there is no transformation power in that state. There is zero transformation power in that mentality. And so if you desire to change your life, you have to accept it and let it go, and operate your consciousness with complete accountability and responsibility. Now this does not mean, I know some of you will think that does that mean I should not have negative thoughts or negative feelings, and I flip everything all day long and I go insane? You will go insane like that. No. Decision. You say that I am this now, I am in my desired reality, I am happily married, I have wealth, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am healthy. You choose these things about you, and then you do not go back on your decision. Something opposite happens, you're like, okay, I understand this has happened, this is my old version playing out, these are my old assumptions still lingering around, but they're old, I do not embody them, I do not care about them, and so I have to do nothing with them. You get old thoughts, you get a little bit fearful, fine, feel them, feel all the emotions, but create the separation in that moment by saying that this is my old self, this is not me anymore, I don't choose it. I thought I lost my microphone for a second. And you say, I am none of those things anymore. This separation is where all your power is, because you are at the back of it pure consciousness, right? That's why you create anything anyways, or choose anything from the infinity of God anyways. Otherwise none of this would work. So understand how reality works. Create your desired version in mind, imagine it, affirm it, decide. Most importantly, the tools are very helpful, but they are not necessary. But I still suggest people to practice imagining, practice affirmations whenever you think about your desire, not obsessively, and practice all these tools. But at the back of it, you must embody the only thing that is real, you being the source of this reality. And then reality has no choice but to manifest it for you. Then all things are possible. All things are possible to God, as Navgar says. And so that's the secret sauce. If you were looking for one, if there was ever a secret sauce, it is that you are all that is, and it's all you. That's why anything is possible, otherwise none of it is possible. So yeah, this is it for this video. Until next time, bye bye.